girls and boys. Welcome to another episode of your daily show, Fairy Tales. You know, a tale is not a tale until it's told by a fairy. So how about you join me on a new tale on Fairy Tales? Our story today, girls and boys, is called The Sea Serpent. Once upon a time, a long time ago, a gigantic sea serpent lived near many islands. The serpent was as big as 10 dragons. Its eyes were the size of lakes, and each of its teeth was as high as a tower. When it raised its head above the water, it made huge waves crash into the cliffs of a nearby island. And when it roared, everyone could hear it from miles around. One day, the king of one of the islands looked out and saw that the waves crashing by his cliffs, and the castle were much higher than usual. He watched as the great sea serpent raised its head out of the water until its eyes were as high as the king's tower. The king leaned back out of his castle window and shook his fist at the sea serpent. "Begone, foul beast!" he cried. But the serpent let out a roar that almost shook the castle apart. The king sent out his chief wizard to see if he could enchant the sea serpent. But the old wizard was powerless. The serpent roared at the wizard, who ran back to the castle before the sea serpent could eat him up. This wizard was a very wise and clever man who could understand the speech of sea serpent. When he spoke to the king, he trembled almost as much as he had done when he had seen the sea serpent. "Sire," said the wizard, the sea serpent is angry at your insult to it. It says he will only go away if he is giving your only daughter to eat. If he does not have her, he will destroy your castle." The king was scared as well as angry now. However, he made his heralds ride all over the island with a proclamation. "Anyone who can kill the sea serpent can have my sword, my daughter's hand in marriage, and my kingdom when I die." That was a big declaration. Soon, many brave knights came to the island to try and slay the sea serpent. Some had killed dragons before, but the sea serpent was much bigger. When most of them saw the sea serpent, they ran away. The bravest ones tried to defeat it, but they only knew how to fight on land. Their armor was too heavy and very soon gobbled up by the monster serpent. At this time, a farmer and his wife lived on the island with their 7 sons. The sons were all lively, active young men. Apart from the youngest, he was small and thin and liked to dream about adventures as he sat at the fields. What happened to those boys? We would know after the break. The farmer had 7 young, lively sons. The smallest was small and thin and liked to dream about adventures as he sat at the field. His older brothers loved to tease him and bully him around. When the family heard about the sea serpent, the youngest brother said, "I can defeat it." Very quietly, everyone laughed at him. "You can't even hold a shield or swing a sword," said his brothers. "I don't need a sword or shield to defeat the sea serpent," he said, starting into the fire. The family didn't listen. They thought that the boy had got caught up in one of his own adventures and stories. But the youngest brother was clever. Then he looked. When everyone had gone to bed and the fire died down, he picked up a square of peat from the fire. Peat burns very slowly, and the boy saw that there was still a tiny spark of flame in the middle of it. The youngest brother took the peat and went out to the stable where his father's horse stood. He got on the horse and galloped as fast as he could to the castle where the sea serpent's wizard was waiting. It was almost dawn when he reached the port near the castle. He found a small rowing boat and got into it, carrying only the peat. Then the youngest brother rowed as fast as he could out to the sea serpent, which was laying with its gigantic mouth half in the water. The sea serpent was sleeping, and every so often it opened its mouth and yawned. The youngest brother waited until the sea serpent yawned again and then rowed the boat inside the sea serpent's mouth. Suddenly, the boat was floating down the sea serpent's throat at top speed, splashing and rocking. The boy held on tight until the boat came to rest in the sea serpent's belly. It was very dark and smelly in the beast's stomach. The only light was tiny flame from the lump of the peat. The youngest brother blew gently on the flame. From there it slowly grew until the belly was lit up with fire. It was like a great red cavern. Then he put the burning peat down next to a pile of wood from a ship that the sea serpent had swallowed before. It soon caught flame and burned merrily. The sea serpent felt the fire in its belly and woke up. His stomach started to twist and shudder like an earthquake. The boy got back in the boat and rowed back toward the beast's mouth. As the serpent roared with pain, he rowed right out of the mouth again. The sea serpent was burning up from inside. It snaked its head at the boat and tried to crush it. But the boy, when it saw the jaws, luckily managed to steer away and avoid the attacks, and rowed as fast as he could toward the shore. With one last mighty roar, the sea serpent died, and its head smashed back into the water. The wave carried the youngest brother all the way back to the port. When the people on the land saw what the youngest brother had done, they took him to the king, and he was proclaimed a great hero. The youngest brother married the king's daughter and took the king's sword, but he didn't forget his family. He invited them all to come and live in the castle. Well, so the youngest brother, the princess, and all their family lived happily ever after. How about we have a quick break and we get back soon?
Not many insects would ever find the flowers of the fig tree, as the latter grow inside the fig. The fig flowers are pollinated by special fig wasps that live inside the fig. When the flowers are producing pollen, some wasps leave. They move into another fig, carrying pollen with them on their bodies and so fertilize that one. Figs have been cultivated for thousands of years and are mentioned in Arabian, Egyptian, Greek, and Roman texts. A gall is an abnormal growth on plants or trees that is often seen as a rounded swelling. A fine example is an oak apple pictured below. Galls are caused by parasites that feed and live on the plants.
That was it for today's tale, girls and boys. How about you join me same time next time on a new tale on Fairy Tales.